morning, and welcome to the coldest show in Texas, Misinformed. I am coming to you live from a bed because it's just a little too cold to get out and actually get out of my pajamas. And I know that you guys aren't going to judge me because I wouldn't judge you for this. The sleet is banging against my window. It is very, very cold. So we're just going to go over some hot topics today with the one, the only, what's that guy's name again? Head monkey butt or something. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Come on in, Mark.
How's it going?
Good morning. So I'm sitting here complaining about the sleet hitting my window, but you've got you've got it a little colder than me, don't you?
I do. You know, it's this winter here in Michigan has been a little colder than last year. We've hit a lot of negatives. And last night it stayed pretty much around 0 to like -4. But we have a warm front that came in because the sun came out. So it's like 7 degrees right now and -1 wind chill. So that makes you feel any better. No.
Listen, I am not the kind of person that enjoys cold weather, and my husband is a Viking, so he's like, it like charges his battery or something. And me, I'm like, I can't even form a sentence. I'm like paralyzed.
Hold on a second. Oh.
Like I belong in Aruba, and he belongs in Alaska, and we're gonna make it work.
It's really, you know, it's funny because I talk to almost a lot of friends every day. And I can't tell you a day that doesn't go by, because we're even talking about it. So this is another day. It doesn't go by that we don't talk about the weather. And what's interesting is you get acclimated to the temperature once you've been there for a while. But you obviously got to get past the biggest hurdle. And that's just comprehending that it's going to be cold and being okay with that, you know, and not griping about it every day. Because if you gripe about it every day, it's still cold. Cold doesn't.
Nobody wants a negative Nancy.
I'm not saying you were. I'm just saying. No, but you know,
you want to fight me? You want to? I'll come through this speaker.
So one of my veteran fathers, he posted a comment the other day, and he was like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? It's going to be 7 degrees into this week. I just don't. I mean, I'm in Texas. We don't deserve this weather." And so I made this really funny out of it, and a lot of people commented after it. But it was kind of like that little nonchalant. It was like, "Oh, it's cold. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's cute. You're cold.
That's so fun." I know I was going to say that's cute, but I said, no, that's so funny. It's, you know, let me show you my temperature. It was like -4, wind chill -14, 15 degrees, and 19 inches of snow. Yeah, that's so funny that you think that's cold. But no, the reality is that you're in Texas. And your 40-degree temperature and my 40-degree temperature are two different temperatures. You have a wet cold and I have a dry cold. And so, anyway, so therefore, it's just our 40 feels like 50, 52.
It doesn't feel as bad. It's nice. Well, you know, when I was in Telluride, it didn't feel as bad. It was lovely. Like, I love being in Telluride.
Let me ask you a question. Would you be, you're in Texas, right? So you're in, I think you're down towards Galveston or something. Where are you at?
I'm in Waco currently.
Okay, you're in Waco. Okay, so let me ask you a question.
I get around.
Outside. It's 60 degrees outside, sunny. Would you go outside in shorts and flip-flops?
No.
Why?
Because it's cold to me.
Okay, here at 60 degrees, that's like spring. 84 degrees is like the hottest it gets here, and that's like you're 95. So at 84 degrees, you will perspire and sweat, and it is hot. And when air's moving, it's not so bad. So I'm just saying.
Listen, speaking of moving and this weather, did you know over on Highway 35 in Fort Worth, they have 100-car pileup as of an hour ago, and they've had to shut down the interstate? So many people, but because the weather's bad, and we have ninnies who don't know how to drive, and it's the biggest pileup I've seen, I think. And I mean, as far back as I can remember, 100-car pileup. I'm not even kidding. If you get on Facebook, you'll see stuff about it from your friends that are in this area. It's bad. You know, they did issue a weather alert. Parts of Central Texas have winter weather advisory till Thursday morning. I'm talking like freezing rain hitting you right in the face. I'm
gonna knock on wood because I don't want to jinx it. But Kim and I were just talking last night how we've been here. Well, she's been here 2 years. I've been here about a year and a half. And what the interesting thing is we haven't seen like we get bad weather, and it will just pile in like crazy. No cars on the side of the road, no wrecks on the side of the road. We don't see people just falling off the ditches. And in fact, last night we're going down this one long road. It's 15 miles long to get to town, and there's the first stop sign. We have an all-wheel drive Audi, an Audi Q5, and it stops on a dime, but it was slick all the way, and they didn't put salt or anything down, so it was slick all the way. And I noticed two other trucks coming different directions, crossing each other, and nobody stopped at the stop sign. Everybody slows down just enough that you wave, and you just keep driving through. I went through the whole thing 10 miles an hour. I never even put my foot on the brake, because as soon as I put my foot on the brake, we started sliding. So I was like, okay, screw it. Oh yeah, just keep going straight.
I got pulled over for doing that once. It was all iced over, and I just slowed down and cruised to the sign because I knew that it was going to be dangerous. And the officer ended up not giving me a ticket, but he did.
Yeah.
But he did give me a nice ass chewing. And I remember I was so nervous because I'm not somebody that, has encounters with the law often. And I remember talking to him and being like, "I'm sorry, Your Honor." That was you. I called him Your Honor. That may have been what got me out of the ticket, because he was like, "You're an idiot." I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I haven't had that happen, but we do have this long road that's about 15 or 20 miles to go out to the highway. And I was going behind this dump truck, and he was going, I don't know, 6 or 7 miles an hour. And I didn't see, like, in front of the officer or in front of the truck, I didn't see there was an officer on the side of the road, because I was too busy trying to get around the truck that I couldn't see him on the other side. So apparently I gassed it, and the speed limit is 55, and I was going 61 when I passed the front of the truck in order to get around him. And, he pulls me over. I got a warning. He's just like, "Why are you in a hurry?" And I go, and there goes the dump truck, 6 miles an hour.
I was just trying to get around the dump truck, obviously.
I said I was trying to get around the dump truck. I couldn't see. It's near a turn. It's still the dotted line, so you can still cross there, but I couldn't see if there's another car coming. So I gassed it to get in front of him. I wasn't trying to speed. In fact, I was going not even 10 miles an hour. And he goes, "Well, I just need to stop because you were going over the speed limit." What common sense do you have? You're bored as hell sitting there waiting for the next person, and I was the guinea pig that just gassed it.
That's exactly what it was. You do see that a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of guinea pigs, did you hear what Mark Cuban is doing? The Cubes took away the national anthem.
I'm out.
I'm out too. I love basketball. And that's my jam. I've always loved ball. Whether it's kids playing or we're watching a league, I just enjoy the game. I've got love for the game. I played ball in school.
I think that coming out with what he came out with, there's a couple of sides. It's bold.
Let's hear it.
I kind of commend him to just a small degree to be able to have the access, I guess, to be able to say this is what we want to do. But here's where I have the problem with it. It is an American pastime. It's American heritage. It's American tradition. We are United States of America, USA, red, white, and blue. And we have an NBA rule. We have a United States rule. We sing the national anthem. It's been a heritage and an honor and a tradition in almost all sports, right? And you want to take that away to comply with people that may not be passionate about it. Okay, so hold on a second. This goes to common sense. We have an American flag, and people come to this country and designate this flag, right? If I go to another country and I do anything with their flag, we're dead. They don't.
Off with your head.
There's not. You can't tell me you can't go to Germany and desecrate their flag on there. You're in jail, or they're going to kill you. You're dead. We have the freedom of speech, and I get all that, but don't go changing the rules. We can't entertain and be happy for everybody. We are not
somebody who's an American.
Yeah.
As someone who's an American born and raised, I take offense to that because I am an American. I understand transplants come in, and you know what? I believe that we should help those in need, and I'm very passive with things that I get ruffled my feathers. That's one of the reasons I enjoy doing the show, because I love hearing everybody's point of view, and I really don't put my foot down on many things. And you never hear my opinion about my political views and things of that nature. But I think this is complete horse shit, and I think as Americans, I'm offended. I'm offended that he has it feels disrespectful to me. It feels disrespectful to America. And I feel like it's disrespectful to those that have fought. Like it hits me a little harder. And I know a lot of people that work with Cubes personally, and I want to call him and be like, hey, what was he thinking? Was there an ulterior motive? Like, was he paid off to do this? Like, what made him make that decision? Did he just want to do something controversial so he could be in? Here's my thought. Did he want to do something controversial so he could be in the limelight and the center of attention with social media as they come into basketball season? Is he just trying to get attention? What are you doing, Mark?
If he did, he just lost a lot of people because that was totally.
I'll never watch another game. I won't like another post. I will not engage. He's got a stonewall from me because I'm just
And here's the thing. There's two sides of this, right? Because I think just recently there was a gentleman. This is kind of a squirrel moment, but there was a country singer. I think I remember his name being Morgan, but I don't know. Don't hold me on that. No, he's a country singer, and he was partying with a bunch of friends, and it just happened like last week. And
he said something bad in his house
to his best friend. It was not in public, but it was out in front of their street, in front of his house. Yes, he was inebriated. He was drunk, right? But
it was a racial slur, wasn't it? Is that right?
He said the N-word, but his friend already said it when he got out of the car. If you watch the entire video and watch it from the time they drive up and the time they walk to the door, he had his hand around him. They were shumming around. It's probably something he always says because it's around his friends. But because a neighbor across the street was being Johnny Ass Spy, filmed it, and then sent it in, and then all of a sudden he's shunned, and his record label canceled him, his producer canceled him, and it's like, oh my God. Okay, common sense tells me, first of all, the neighbor across the street, mind your own damn business. Okay? Number two, it wasn't derogatory towards blacks or anything else. Was it a bad word? Yes, and I don't like it, and I will never say it. The most you're going to get out of me is the N-word, okay? But it is a bad word. I don't like how white people do it. I don't like how black people do it. But I understand the conversation, the context that was at hand. And it was a friendly, half drunk. The other guy was drunk, and they were walking up to the door, and hey, it is what it is. I don't like it. Don't condone it. But I wouldn't be the record label and everybody else going, oh my God, let's axe him. Let's get rid of him. Oh my God, he's just bad. He's bad for business and everything.
I understand we've got Black Lives Matter movement going on strong, and now is not the time to be acting out and saying things that are borderline inappropriate, even if you don't mean it, even if you were raised as the one white kid in a black neighborhood, and so you feel really comfortable saying it because it doesn't have a derogatory notation to you. We are evolving, and just like with certain things, we go through evolution and we change. And I understand that there is shame. And as someone who's white, I will never know what it's like to go through the oppression that people who are black have gone through. And I do recognize that, and I acknowledge that there are some things that are that are mistreated. And I see that, and I see it. Okay. And it's devastating. I wish it wasn't like that. And I do think we're taking steps to change. I do think that this whole thing is kind of spiraled, and I do feel like it's a little much for me. But I understand that we shouldn't use that language anymore.
That's correct. My grandmother used that word. That word was.
You see it a lot with older generations. I mean,
that was not.
I've had clients. I've had clients that have said stuff like that. And you're just like, because I mean, I have a fiduciary duty, but I also am not going to work with somebody who is blatantly racist. Like if you want to buy a home and you're a racist, like I don't really want to. I don't want to work with you.
The difference between when my grandmother was saying it, and she did have. I don't think she technically had slaves, but she did have a maid in the house, and she was black. But that was just the word. That was just the word that was used. It wasn't used in a derogatory manner. The black person probably appreciated it to some degree because it was communication in the house, and she was feeling privileged that she got a job and she was able to work. There's a lot of things, but we weren't there. That was back in those days. In today's world, we don't use that word, right?
Yeah, I don't know what they went through. I don't know what it was like. All I know is that my actions matter, and so I need to try to represent.
As a business owner, we have to represent ourselves. Right. And if I go and these are kind of, we're ranting today, right? So you know, I'll just say her name is Jenna. You can go look her up. She was the girl that was on the Capitol that everybody X'd out, right? The realtor. Okay, here's the interesting thing.
Damn it, Jenna.
Okay, look, everybody's been chastising her and sending death threats and wanting to kill her and all that jazz because she, at the end of the day, she only did one thing wrong, okay? It wasn't about that she got on a plane and flew and did videos and all that jazz and got there and protest. She was doing the protest. She was a Trump supporter, and I have no problem with all of that. The problem I have is the moment she actually crossed the threshold and broke a federal law by going into the facility. That's it. She didn't demo anything. She didn't demolish anything. She just took some pictures. But she's the person that we're going to use to pick to say that's bad. And now she's lost everything, right? She's still being investigated by the FBI. She should be investigated because she broke one law. She had common sense. She should have known. And she's a business owner. But it also goes down to like the guy, my wife and I are back and forth on the conversation with the gentleman that owns Mr. Pillow, right? We've had this thing before where like the Dixie Chicks in the past about a president, and then everybody exiled them, right? And took them years to get back in the swing of things.
And they're still not all the way in.
Look at Pete Rose. All he did was gamble, right? It was against the rule. I think we actually go too hard on some rules because we don't put the two favorite words of mine, which is common sense, in place.
Because a lot of us lack it, and we follow the masses.
A musician. Okay, come on. He said a bad word. Got it. But it wasn't derogatory towards the Black lives. It wasn't derogatory. It was a friendly gesture thing that he does with his friend all the time. It just happened to have gotten caught on camera.
You know, Mark, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about this gentleman and what had happened. And I heard his record sales, and I haven't verified this, but I heard his record sales have skyrocketed with where he's personally selling albums, I guess, off of his own website, maybe. But I heard that his sales are doing actually extremely well, and he got a lot of attention over it.
I just think at the end of the day, you know, we
it was like, hey, negative. Any kind of publicity is good publicity. Let me do something to shake up the beehive and see if I can't get some publicity.
See, I'm not that. I can't do that. It's not me.
I don't think it's right, but I wonder. It makes you wonder. It makes you go.
It's because it's publicity. It's a stunt, right?
Speaking of stunts, you know, they're going to start the trial back up for Trump's impeachment today at 12 o'clock. You know, they got it 16
a couple of days ago, but
well, here's the deal. They have 16 hours over 2 days to go through the whole trial process, and it starts again today at 12 o'clock. And they're going over all the evidence from the trial and the charges are trying to indict Trump. They're trying to indict Trump and say he was responsible for inciting the Capitol riot, right? And I think they have like 17 Republicans to swing it over.
They're
trying to show how bad it was and use that fear for how bad it was.
They're going to continue doing it, and he's no longer president.
Trump over it. And Trump showing how bad it was has nothing to do with showing if Trump incited it or not. They're looking at the wrong.
That's totally they're wrong in that.
The situation was, instead of digging and looking at what Trump did or did not do to incite it, which I think is complete hogwash. Trying to scare everybody how awful it is, and then just put somebody in front to blame him on.
But don't you know? I mean, as American, right? And we want our political system to help and manage the United States of America. We have a lot of problems in the control of policies of government, from too long of being in position to having too much power to not having common sense to, you know, and I'm torn because I'm not a Democrat, but I'm not 100% Republican. But I'm not confused. I know what I believe and I know what I feel and I know what I stand for. Okay. But I stand for, first, United States of America. I was born and raised in this country and I like my red, white, and blue. And it's as simple as that. So I have the respect and integrity and honesty to that part. But you and I can sit here all day long and banter back and forth. We can't change our government. We can't. We can vote in and out, but we can't change them. Some of these people have been there 40, 49 years. We can't change them. We've tried. So I saw something not too long ago that said that Trump was going to raise awareness the next couple of years for a new party. There's the Democrat Party, there's a Republican Party, and there's the Patriot Party. Well, I was torn between that because it kind of goes back to the Civil War and the Revolution, right? Let's get rid of the two parties and let's just make it all one. Well, that doesn't work either. When you don't put policies in place and hold people accountable, common sense people, because our president didn't do anything wrong. They didn't like him. He was different
from the get-go, because he has a mouth on him.
And way before he was president, even during the campaign, they didn't like him.
Because he had a mouth on him and he would tell him how it was. He wasn't a slick tongue talker. He cared about America. He still cares about America. A lot of things he did when he was in office was for the greater good of the people who were less fortunate. And you can see that now with all the things that are being reversed just to spite him. We see gas prices rising. We saw over 20,000 union members fired. I mean, you see a lot of change going on right now, and it's negative. Did you ever think that maybe it's because Trump really was for the people?
I got a secret for you.
Ooh, I love secrets. I won't tell anybody, I swear.
Just between you and I, no one will know this, right? I didn't like Trump. Never liked Trump. Can't stand Trump. But he was my president. And I did need somebody that had some kahunas to make some change in policies in the United States of America. And he did do that, albeit he was a jerk through most of it, between his tweeting and his stupid
and maybe a little bit of a womanizer even. Yeah. So maybe we shouldn't date him.
Every man is a womanizer to some degree. Some of them take it a lot further than the rest of us, right?
You pigs.
I know. Yeah, that's what it is, right? There's got to be, it's called pretty. Yeah, you're a pretty girl. I can't remember what the I is. But we'll come up with something. So I can call you a pig, but it's pretty something and girl.
Pretty interested.
Pretty interesting girl. Yeah. So anyways, but here's the other thing too. Here's the other secret. The other part of that. Part two. I don't like Biden. Can't stand Biden. Don't like anything he means for. Don't like anything he stands for. But he is my president of the United States of America.
And we're going to respect him because that's what Americans do.
Correct. And I'm not barking and I'm not balking. He is my president. I don't like some of the things he's done. I didn't like the fact that he's cut jobs. I don't like the fact that he signed so many damn orders on the first day. I think that's wrong. But I still got to support my president.
Yeah, I agree.
Period. End of story. That's the presidency. That's what we have. But it's the same thing when we go back to the national anthem. National anthem is our tradition. And it has been in sports for all this time. Now, if you want the national sports authorities to overturn that and say you don't have to, that's fine. Go do that. Go try to vote for that. But that's not the case, right? And the NBA came back out and said, nope, you will not be a team. You will not play in our league if you don't do it and follow the rules. We're not going to charge you and sanction you and all that jazz. You're just not playing. So it's a simple rule. Don't follow our rules and bye-bye.
Oh, is somebody good, Colin? Who is it? Is it somebody good?
Somebody from Grand Blanc, Michigan. It's spam.
Maybe someone put you on a call list over that whole debacle with your trash.
I don't really care. I don't really care.
Speaking of debacles, I do want to address a question I've been asked a lot. You know, I've been slinging real estate in the Waco and Austin area for the past few months, and I keep getting. We've got problems because we have low inventory, and it's the same thing in Dallas. Low inventory, and the people are there's a lot of buyers and just not enough homes, and so people keep talking about a bubble and a recession, and I just want to address that for a second for everybody who's listening, because education is key. You know. We have to be educated so that we're better positioned. And I have to say it. No, I don't. As my professional opinion, I don't believe it's a real estate bubble. And I feel like everybody's like, what? Yes, it is. And they don't agree with me. But hear me out, Mark. Hear me out. I can already see in your eyes that you're like, no, it is a real estate bubble. It's not a bubble. And this is why. It has to do with supply and demand. And I know our inventory is low. Okay. So we had a lot of regulations put on lenders back when we did have that recession back in 2008, 2009. We had a lot of regulations that were put on lenders and after that. So it would never be that bad again. And even when it did happen in the DFW area, we just took a barely a little dip because it was a nucleus and it was full of business and people had to come to that area to do work. So it wasn't as devastating in that metropolitan area as people talk about it was. It really wasn't that bad then.
I didn't say
regulations, it's not going to be that bad now because the lenders still have now are adhering to these regulations. But also, here's the deal. You think that these houses are people aren't going to be able to afford these houses and they're going to lose their homes in a few years? We have too many people. We have millennials, which are the largest group of home buyers, preparing for families now. Hello. They're having babies now and they're ready to get a home. And they're the largest surge of home buyers out of the baby boomers, the X-Gen. It is the millennials and it's their time to buy now. So we're having to compete with that. And obviously relocation. We have a surge of people coming in from California, all over the place, relocating to the Texas area. And that's not changing. So we've got people coming in. So how can we go into recession if we continue to have people come into the area? You see what I mean? It's just part of that common sense. If you think it through, people are coming into the area, and with more people, we're going to need more houses. We're not going to have people not be able to afford it because the people that are coming in are employed or have jobs. It's just not going to. It's not going to happen. We might see prices. I hope that we see prices start to go down because my heart bleeds for a lot of these buyers, and inventory is low, and so a lot of us are leaning towards new builds. Here's some things about new builds that is just going to rock your world. Usually people go to new builds so they don't have to fight with the multiple offer situation, right?
Sometimes.
Well, now we've got the situation where different builders are doing different things, like D.O. Horton, W Ranch, and Leander. You are doing a bidding war on the lots. And then whoever wins the lot, then you get to put the house on. I just saw a lot go for $250,000 so they could put a $400,000 home on it. People are fighting for the land because they're just not making any more land. You feel me? But not just that, they're doing lotteries where they're picking it out of the hat. And then they're doing a waiting list and requiring you to be on the waiting list to go through the pre-approval process with their in-house lender, which I think is complete crap. But I mean, there's all these different things that are going on. So if you're out there and you're looking for a home and you're just on Zillow, good luck. You better get a realtor that knows what's going on because it's absolutely crazy. But if you're thinking you're in a real estate bubble, you can just wait a few years. I don't think that we're going to go into any kind of a recession because we have so many people coming in.
So here's my answers to that. Number one is in 2008, 2010, I honestly, not that I was blind or anything, I didn't see a recession. The only thing that I saw at the time, well, being a business owner, I stayed busy. My stocks went up and down like normal. It wasn't like I lost money. Gas prices went up. Food prices went up a little bit. But
where were you living?
I was living in Frisco, Texas. Right, a metropolitan area, right? But at the end of the day, it was I just didn't see it. And people are like, "Oh, you're so blind and everything." No, in Frisco, Texas, we were flourishing. The only thing people did, here's the reality, and I know you can probably contest this a little bit. When the economy slumps a little bit, people don't spend money on necessarily getting a brand new car right now or remodeling the house. They got to repair. They're not going to go get a pool. They're just going to hold off for a little while. And then when they feel like everything's kind of back to normal, then, hey, let's go get a pool. Hey, let's go get a car. Let's go do all that stuff, right? Because the economy's doing pretty good. That's all I saw. I just saw people not building. I saw houses building a little slower. I saw people not really remodeling, adding additions to homes, and they were just repairing and doing things. And that's what we were doing. We're just like, okay, we're just getting along. You learn to cut and live with what you got.
Yeah, and the real estate market does react to what the stock market is doing. I mean, we see interest rates went down super low right when the presidency changed over. Those rates are 2.5, 2.7. I don't see them increasing substantially right now. You're still able to achieve a really good rate. But the problem is, for these people that are buying a home right now, Mark, it really is heartbreaking because if you're an FHA, you're putting the offer in and the asking price is like, let's say 300,000. You're seeing offers being put in 10,000 to 80,000. 80,000. I'm not lying, over the asking price. And these buyers aren't getting their homes appraised because the home's not worth $380,000. And so then they're having to come up with that cash difference to get into the home. And then they're having to compete with the property tax moving forward after that. They're inflating the comps and it's hurting the whole neighborhood around them. And I mean, I do see that it's going to push some people out because the people who weren't selling, their taxes are going to rise and they're just not going to be able to afford to live there. Maybe they can, maybe they'll be able to make cutbacks. I understand that some people are going to be hurt by this, but I don't think it's going to be devastating.
Well, here, I was going to say something about like Zillow. And I know you don't like to hear this, but I wouldn't recommend Zillow. I wouldn't. But when I left Frisco to move to Michigan, I had to sell my house. I couldn't get a realtor quick enough to get in there. I had somebody. I couldn't get them in there quick enough to say, you can sell my house in 30, 60, 90 days. I need to get out of there. I need to leave, right? And I didn't need it to be lingering because I can't do 2 mortgages. So I went with Zillow because they made me a cash offer to buy my house. Well, was
it a good offer?
Okay, so here's the thing. I lucked out. Listen, you can call me 1 out of a million. I don't care. I lucked out. The house, we got more for the house than what it appraised for because of the market value, what people were selling their homes currently in the area. And we had everything in this house pristine. There's nothing wrong with this house. There was only a few cracks on the brick outside. We had a laundry chute thing was bad. But I fixed that. I didn't do the concrete. When they came in, the girl was like, wow, I think there's like $600 worth of work to do in this house. And that's the reality. That's truth. Okay. That was true. $600 is all we had. We sold the house, walked away from it. Now, I followed the house. They sold the house $32,000 less than what they paid us for. After they probably put 10 grand in the house because they redid the backsplash, they redid the flooring, they painted the entire house. I know they put 10 or 15 grand in the house. And they lost that. So that's a $45,000 cut. And they sold the house. And I'm looking at it going, well, we lucked out. We did.
Sometimes you just do. Sometimes that's just the case. And I think that it is nice to have Zillow in cases like that. Whenever you do have to move quick, fast, and in a hurry, and you are able to achieve and get a price where you can walk away from and have a little something in your pocket. I do. Because at the end of the day, it's not about my commission. I'm not doing this so that I can be rich. I'm doing this so I can help people. So I do understand and I respect that completely.
You have to make an income while you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to eat.
Reality. Right.
I do. There was an announcement yesterday. I don't know if you saw it or not, but there is a thing called showing time. And it's what realtors do their, it's how we get into the houses. We schedule showings to take our clients into homes through something called showing time. Zillow just bought it.
What?
Yesterday they just bought it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see. Well, I don't know if excited is the right word to use, but I'm watching to see how that's going to affect us. A lot of realtors in the community are really scared and being really hateful about it and saying that they're just going to eventually push us out and it's just going to be all Zillow. But here's the deal. I think that in instances like with your case, yes, it's fine. And that's going to be noteworthy. But a lot of people do appreciate humans.
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes they need hand-holding through the process, especially if they're a first-time home buyer or if they need someone to come in and do the staging to list their property and let them know what's going on. Sometimes you just need a personal touch and it's better to deal with a person. And I don't think that's ever going to go away.
No.
So I don't think Zillow's ever going to replace me.
No,
I just think they're another broker with deeper pockets.
Well, and here's the situation for us. So when we were presented with the option, right? Well, it was an email or I don't know, however my wife got a hold of it. We looked into it. We looked at a couple others too, and I can't remember. There's a couple others that are like Zillow that we looked into that buy cash for houses and stuff.
Redfin is another.
Yeah, it might have been.
Door.
We got a phone call. We talked with the person. We'll call her, Lady One, and she got us through a certain process of it. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to give you Lady Number 2, and Lady Number 2 is going to come and look at your house and get an inspector and all that jazz. Okay, now Lady Number 3 is going to come in. She's going to help you get your title and everything in order and give you a cash offer on the house based on the first person that talked to you, the second person that came and looked at the house, the third person that got the inspection, and then now I'm going to give you the offer. Okay, now I'm going to get the finance person, and they're going to go, here's the offer. And, oh, by the way, we're going to take off the $600 and we're going to take off $300 or $400 on the trip. And we're going to take $500 for the inspection. And hold on a second. I got X amount of dollars for a cash offer of the house. And now all of a sudden you're taking $6,000 off. She goes, well, that's our fees. And I go, that's not what was on the piece of paper. And so they ended up waiving it because it was never presented to us. And we were like, well, you can't, I'm sorry. You can give me a piece of paper and say, these are my fees. That's what a realtor would do. This is the process of transaction. Simple as that. From the title to your mortgage, to the real estate, to the whole process. But you can't somewhere in the middle of it change it and go, here's a new number.
Gotcha.
No, it doesn't work that way. So we argued it and we won. But at the end of the day, you have to follow through. What we would say about Zillow, if you're in a needy situation and a have-to situation financially, you need to get out of it. It's probably a good, smart thing. Otherwise, don't do it because.
Or it was, but right now there's so many buyers out there. I guarantee you can throw a rock, hit a realtor, and they have buyers.
I can't tell you how many emails that I'd be talking to Lady 4, and she would say, well, you got to call Lady 2. I'm like, who's my damn realtor? Who's my damn person that I call? Well, you need to call Lady 1. Lady 1 is your person that's your first person you talk to. And I call Lady 1. Well, you need to talk to Lady 5. She's the finance person. Oh my God. Could somebody just get all their crap together in their job and help me? That's how
there's a lot behind the scenes. And really, whenever you look at a realtor, whenever you're going through the anguish like that, it's good to point out that as a realtor, we kind of manage the whole project. So we're talking to the lender for you. We're talking to the home inspector. We're talking to, the other agents that are presenting offers. Whenever you don't have time to do what you did, when you're somebody who's a business person or your work or your life does not permit you to put your whole attention into the big purchase or the big sale of your home, it's good to have a realtor because they manage it. That's their job, is to manage it like a general contractor. We're managing the project for you and reporting to you and letting you know if there's any hiccups, what's going on. We'll give you updates, but they manage the project for you.
Here's something for you that's kind of positive. So my best friend that I've known for years is actually moving up here. He actually already put the offer on the house. It got accepted. He moves here in May. And the owners that are there, so it's a 45-day sale, and then they're going to rent it back for 45 days because he can't move his kids here until the end of the school year, which is, May 26th, I think. So he'll move that weekend, but he's going to be moving prior to that. But anyways, I have a realtor that I worked with here, and I liked her. She's like you. She's vivacious. She knows everything. She's very well connected. There's not a process in the real estate version of her circle. She knows everything. She knows everything from title companies to the inspectors to the financial to everything that you need to know. Lenders, she's got them out the yin yang, right? And she walks you through this whole process. So she did that for Joe. And there's a couple houses. She came up and she says, I wouldn't get the house. This is my opinion. You can put the offer on the house, but I've done the inspection before. So she gave her knowledge. We actually decided on the first house not to go by that and do it anyways. And she was right. So then we went to the second house and she gave us the 50-50 opinion. You can do it, but the market value in that area is going up. So your house will go up. Your taxes are going to go up. But you need to put at least $70,000 in the house for it to be normal, livable. And they're not willing to put any money in the house or give any breaks in it. It's selling as is, right? Well, then he found this last house, and here's where my point to this was. The whole process that a realtor having relationships with outside people are actually a godsend. You have no idea, if you've never done it, never been into it, how cool it is that they have these relationships in place.
We'll go and knock on that lender's door and pull him out of his house. Can I talk to you for a minute?
I had an inspector that I liked, okay? And when it came time, they asked me, hey, did you like your inspector? And I said, well, I did. I really liked him. Now, he missed 2 things. But reality was, I'm okay with the 2 things that he missed because to me, they were very, very small. They weren't anything large, and I don't think anybody else would have caught it. But because I was a previous general contractor, I knew it, right?
Okay.
But here's the critical part I liked about this inspector is because he has a great relationship with my realtor. And because of that relationship, he walked me through every single process. I was with him. We were in the same room together. And we would go into that room, and he would talk amongst the idea of writing stuff down. And then he would like, all right, did you see everything? Are you good with this room? Do you have any questions for this room? And we would go to the next room. He didn't want me walking around the house and going off by myself and doing things. He wanted to make sure that we walked this house together. That's an inspector.
Good.
Right? And
we just need people that care. That's all we really need.
I had to tell Carol, she was my realtor. I go, hey, how much longer do we have? She's like, why? And I go, because I spent the last hour and a half with the inspector. I haven't even looked at the house. And she just laughed. She goes, what? Well, he wouldn't let me go look at the house. He wanted me to walk with him, which I appreciate that. But I now want to go look around. So she
That's hilarious.
Like, oh yeah, we got it for another hour. Go. I told him 3 hours. We got another hour. So go look at the house. So
that's hilarious. But I'm glad to hear that.
But that's my point is, at the end of the day, is realtors have one thing that's critical that a lot of people take for granted. And that's they have great relationships that they build with partners. You have to. And if you don't like an inspector and you don't like a title company, guess what, Missy? You move on. You find you somebody else, because relationships are never 100% of the time.
Well, and as realtors, we watch things. Like if you're a title girl and you're out drinking every night, I'm not going to do business with you, because sometimes I need things sent over in the middle of the night. If you're a lender and one of my other colleagues has told me that a deal fell through with you and it was something that was, or you didn't get documents out in a certain time frame. I mean, we're very hard to please. And so, and you are as vendors, you're an extension of us. So if you're not top notch, you're not working with me. And I feel like I speak for a lot of realtors when I say that, because we have to provide the best for our clients because they're depending on us.
I've got a question for you. Now, this may be more specifically because it was a real estate boutique per se. I'm guessing. I don't remember.
I work for boutiques.
Well,
I work for one right now.
Back in the day when I was doing construction, my company at the time was North Texas Home Repair. And we had, I guess for a lack of a better term, or maybe an on-call retainer. We got paid $1,000 a month from this boutique, right? But we were kind of at their beck and call. They would call us, and we had, I think 3 hours or 4 hours or same day service, I can't remember, to show up and do the preliminary or do the inspection or see what needs to be done type thing. And usually it was after all the inspection and everything else was done. We were kind of like hey, they're going to move in 3 days. What do you think needs to be done type thing? Okay. And she provided a service. Right. So a lot of times it was, blinds weren't put up right. The painting needed to be touched up. The trim in the house wasn't totally bright white and they needed that touched up. It was minor stuff. Have you ever been into that? Because I'm wondering if that's still a thing, or is that just because it was a boutique?
No. There's punch lists. So before, ever since I was 18, I worked in real estate in some aspect. And one of the things I did was work in multi-unit properties. And so we would have punch lists where we would go through and make sure that things were a certain way before, like a make ready. It's the same thing with houses. A lot of times whenever you're doing rental houses, you work with property management companies, and they'll have general contractors that they pay a monthly fee, keep them on call, and they have punch lists that they have to go and check and make sure all these items are up to par in these homes before they go over. And a lot of times with listing appointments, I encourage you to have, and depending on the home, everything's a case-by-case basis. I don't want you to spend money if you don't spend money. But a lot of times you'll have an inspection done on a home beforehand, or you'll have a general contractor walk through and with the realtor, and they'll both consult together and tell you the items that need to be done, and then go ahead and get them done. You see it in boutiques, but I've seen it in larger brokerages too, where they have the contractors on retainer. Yeah. Because you want to provide the best service.
Well, so when we were doing it, so and I don't mind saying this because we're not in business anymore, but we got paid $1,000 a month. Right. And that was every month for 3 years that we got paid $1,000 a month. Now, when she called us for the client, we had already fixed prices. So I can't go to the client and say, to paint this wall is $100. And then the next client, this wall's $350. It doesn't matter. The wall by square footage is the price per square foot. And that's what it's going to cost to paint the wall. We had fixed prices. But because it was a new customer, we had an agreement. We get $1,000. And when you go to the client, you give off 20%, not 10%. You give it 20% off of your cost to do the work. She's paying us a retainer. We're busy with 3 or 4 jobs a week, not 10 or 20, just 3 or 4 jobs. And they're all small. They're $500 to $1,500, sometimes $2,000 or $3,000, but they're small jobs. They're just a punch list. We stayed busy. We didn't make a whole lot of money, but we stayed busy and everybody got taken care of. The customer was happy. And here's what ended up happening between those relationships. The customer would call us back 6 months later. Hey, would you come and repaint a bedroom? Would you come and do this? Hey, do you do this? We got a phone call because we did a good job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's imperative that realtors have relationships like that with handymen, construction, contractors, electricians, plumbers. I mean, you name it. I've got my Rolodex is insane with all the different people that I have that I've come across, because you want, when someone says, I need this, got it. Here you go. You want to be a resource for your clients. So it is important to have things like that. So the answer is yeah. Oh yeah. And you need to be able to move fast.
I want you to look on your phone and I want you to tell me how many contacts you have in your phone. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. But I have more than you have.
Let's see. I bet you do. I don't know. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
How do you even see?
Well, there is a place for it. I saw it not too long ago. I think you have to go to settings, contacts. There it is.
Okay, we'll end on this note. Settings.
Okay, no, I don't see it in there. I see accounts. Nope. All right, so it's not in contacts. Well, that's an email anyways. Phone maybe? Maybe it's under phone. Nope, it's not there. Okay, what if I actually go to phone? I saw it not too long ago, and I was like, holy smokes, where'd that number come from? Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so go to your contacts and then go down the very, very bottom.
Okay, default
hit the account sign, and you at the bottom, it'll say your number in contacts.
Wait. Okay, so I go to settings and go to contacts, and what?
And go all the way down the bottom, hit like on the very small right-hand side, you can hit the pound sign to go to the very bottom of the page. All right, what are you on an iPhone?
Yeah. What normal people are on?
Go where you dial to call people.
Oh, okay.
Not in settings. Go to where you dial call people and then go all the way.
I can't do it if you don't give me the instructions.
I know.
Okay. No, what?
Now go all the way down the bottom. You can hit the pound sign to go. You can hit the pound sign.
The bottom of my contacts? Is that what you're telling me to do?
Yeah, go all the way down the bottom of it.
Seriously? Okay.
Hit the pound sign.
Oh, okay. I see it. Okay. At the same time. 1, 2, 3.
13,886.
Oh my God, Mark! Well, you are very popular.
13,863.
Holy fuck, I didn't know a phone could hold that much.
There probably is only 9,000 numbers that are probably good. The other 4,000 numbers are probably no longer good.
Well, you've been on this earth longer than me, so you probably know a totally large amount of old people.
What, am I a year older than you?
You break it up. You're not talking about my age. You break it up.
I keep everybody's number, but I guarantee you one of my favorite ones is I have to go to it and then we'll just get off this topic. But I have a contact called marketing. And in marketing, it's all the spam and all the crap calls, and I put it on block. And I was looking into it recently, and when I went in there, it was so I have 13,863, right? Where's the M's? Where is marketing?
I've got Mark Cuban. You want to call him? We can prank him.
All right, so I go to marketing, and I do the same thing. I scroll, go all the way to the bottom. Yeah, 7,363. So I really only have probably 6,000 people on my phone. The rest of it's all spam and marketing. Yeah.
Bless your heart.
So I put them in there, and then the list is just long. I put them in there, and I just go down to the very bottom, and then I do the block the caller. So that way I never get a call from them, because these people call me.
You can block it without saving them. Did you know that?
Yeah, but if you ever do anything with your phone and change anything, then they can call back again. So I've learned to just put it in a marketing thing and make it and just add them all in there. And sometimes they get through because I've actually had to reboot my phone or a new update. And then I see marketing on my phone. I'm like, what? So I'll go unblock it and then reblock it, and it blocks them all over again. And I don't have the problem.
Smart. Look at you teaching me things. See, it's all about learning, guys. It's all about learning new things.
There might be a 20-year-old or 17-year-old or a 28-year-old.
11-year-old.
Might say something different, right? But that's what it works for me.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Mark, thank you for ranting with me today. Sometimes you just need to sit in bed when it's cold outside and you need to rant a little bit.
I'm not sitting in bed.
Well, it's your journey, but as for me, I'm calling it an admin day and getting work done and my searches done from the comfort of my bed in my pajamas. And if anybody else out there in Texas, not Michigan, if anybody out there in Texas doesn't have to get out, please don't, because the roads are slick, it's icy, and y'all know none of y'all know how to drive, so just stay home if you can. Be safe, and we'll see you on the next Misinformed.
Hey,
thank you for joining me, Mark. Y'all have a blessed day.
And by the way, you've had 2 comments in there we forgot to post.
I'm so popular. Autographs after the show, Mom.
Yeah, and then there's this one. Me too. We didn't even know what that was.
Linda Lou. Thank you for watching. My biggest fan. Stay warm, friends. And I'll see you on the next Misinformed. Bye.